thank God today is Friday. That's all I have to say, right? Welcome back to my channel. I am Danielle, aka Stitcherista, here on YouTube, and today is Friday, August 20th. It is about 9:11 in the morning. My job starts at 10 o'clock. I'm praying to God today that it is just a short job. So I am just in no mood. I don't know, lately I have been in no mood like every day. This morning I was up late last night turning around a job that wound up being a quick turnaround, and we didn't know it until the end of the job. Always love that. And my mind is just, oh, yeah, thank God today is Friday. And so I was up late doing that. And then this morning, so Jill had gotten me a gift card to Fandango because I have rented movies from them online. She got me a gift card for my birthday, which was back in May. I hadn't really seen any movies I wanted to rent. So I was waiting for the Fast and the Furious 9 to come out where you could rent it on Fandango for 20 bucks normally it is. My husband's really been wanting to see that movie. We are not people that like to go to the movies per se, so I was going to use the gift card for that. I get an email today from Fandango. Move your account to Vudu, which is V-U-D-U, because they merged. Move your account to there and get 30% off of a rental. Awesome. Okay, and they were like, Fast and the Furious 9 is now available. So I do all that, and then I go to put in the gift card, and it says it's not valid. So I proceed to spend like 20 minutes trying to figure it out. Can't figure it out. Have to send a support ticket. And now I'm irritated because I've wasted 20 minutes doing that. Why can't stuff just work? Stuff just needs to work. And then another little irritating thing last night. So in the evening, I stitch every evening when Bill goes to bed, at least Sunday through Thursday. I recorded a 45-minute stitching session yesterday. Yeah. And when I got the video off my phone, you can't even hardly see my stitching from the angle that I was trying to record. You would think 5 years in, I would know how to do that. So yesterday I had spent a good bit of time trying to fool with, I have like a clamp on tripod that I was clamping onto the table right here and arcing it over so it was above me. However, I would hit it when I was stitching. Because I had it clamped to the table on the right, I couldn't see my iPad because I watch stuff when I'm stitching. And then Bill had the idea to clip it to here. Okay, well, we couldn't get the angle right. And I was like, I literally spent like 45 minutes yesterday trying to figure that out. And what I finally wound up doing, because I was trying to avoid spending more money and ordering another tripod. I literally, over the 5 years I've done this, I literally have probably bought 10 different tripods. Yeah. So what I wound up buying, and I pray to God it works because I did extensive research last night, reviews, tried to find videos of people that have used this. One that is a floor stand and that I can probably put over here, move this light a little bit and put it over here and it will come out over here. Please, it was like $70 fucking dollars. Like, I need that to work. Please let it work. Because what I want, because now I stitch up here solely. I don't even stitch downstairs anymore because I have this really nice lamp. I just want something I can set up and not have to fool with every time I want to sit down to record. Is that too much to ask? I don't know. So today is going to be a true crime story time. We're just going to do it face to face because I don't have a stitching video. Yeah. I can show you my progress though, because I did get quite a bit done. So remember, I'm stitching the Modern Folk Embroidery Fruits of Plenty sampler. And I got this green done. Let's get you a little closer. This green done, and then all this green. So I got this green here, and there's a whole bunch of green over here. And then I can do all the center stuff. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Today's story is Karen Lee Huster. Never heard of this person. Divorce can be a messy business, and it can be particularly hard on children, those innocent pawns who sometimes find themselves caught in the midst of a fractious separation. You know, as a step parent, I am so very thankful that Bill and his ex-wife have always gotten along, and there really wasn't that issue. I belong to a couple Facebook groups for step parents. Oh my God, some of the stories I've heard. Like, my situation was fantastic. Like, it has been some nightmares. So it's a shame when parents use the child in that way. This is particularly true when there is a custody battle involved. Then the child might be called on to take sides, might be manipulated or threatened, might be shuttled between one parental home and the other. Many find themselves left with psychological baggage, which they carry with them into adulthood. For others, the children of Karen Lee Huster, for example, the cost is even greater. Oh, God. Karen had married Michael Huster in 1977 and had given him 2 children during the course of their 19-year marriage. Wow, that's quite a bit to be married to someone. So Jonathan was born in 1978, and Elizabeth Ann was born on September 26, 1986. The marriage, though, was a troubled one, with the couple separating and reconciling several times before an irreparable breakdown in November of 1995. Mike moved out, taking Jonathan with him and relocating to California. Elizabeth stayed with her mother, although Mike made it clear that he intended filing for full custody during the divorce proceedings. Ugh. Regrettably, he would never get that chance. Oh, God. On August 31st, 1996, 8-year-old Elizabeth attended a wedding with her mother in Cedar Mill, Oregon, and she was never seen alive again. No. Over the months that followed, Michael made several attempts to see his daughter, only to be rebuffed by his estranged wife. Eventually, in desperation, he contacted Bethany Elementary School, where Elizabeth should have been attending 5th grade classes. To his surprise, the school principal informed him that his daughter had not been enrolled for that year. You would be like, what the fuck? Concerned now, Mike started calling friends and relatives, only to discover that none of them had seen Elizabeth either. It was then that he contacted the police in Portland, Oregon, and reported his daughter missing. I just don't understand why, whatever Karen has done, why would you have done this? Karen, described by those who knew her as vindictive, bitter, and perpetually angry, was her usual obnoxious self when police officers arrived at her door in December 1996. She told the officers that she had sent Elizabeth to live with relatives in California, but refused to give the location. What? According to her, she had done it for Elizabeth's own protection, since she was afraid that Michael might abduct or even harm the child. In support of this claim, she cited an incident in 1995 when Michael had been arrested for assaulting her during an argument and had subsequently been slapped with a restraining order. Boy, can that stuff get messy when you have stuff like that. So that excuse was enough to hold the authorities at bay for now. But as the Portland Police Department continued its missing person investigation, some worrisome details began to emerge. The most troubling of these was the revelation that Karen had held a garage sale in September 1996, just a week after her daughter was last seen alive. She had used that sale to sell off Elizabeth's toys, clothes, and bedding. What the heck? By May 1997, the police had still found no trace of the missing girl, and an arrest warrant was issued for Karen, citing custodial interference. Offered probation if she revealed Elizabeth's whereabouts, Karen flatly refused and was sentenced to 2 years in prison. She walked free in February of 1999, but was soon in trouble again when she was arrested for burglarizing a friend's house and stealing clothing and identity documents, and the sentence this time was 6 months. How do you live your daily life like that? But if Karen thought that her troubles regarding her missing child had gone away, she was sorely mistaken. Extensive searches had turned up no trace of Elizabeth, and the authorities had by now begun to suspect she was dead. Of course. I mean, the child was only in the 5th grade. Where would she have gone? Their suspicions were given weight when several of Karen's cellmates came forward and had claimed that Karen had admitted killing her daughter and had boasted that the police would never find the body. I'm surprised she even lasted in prison, because I have heard that people do not take kindly to children being abused or murdered. So in April of 2000, an Oregon grand jury handed down an indictment of first-degree homicide against Karen for the murder of her daughter. Karen, however, had no intention of waiting around for her day in court. She promptly disappeared, fleeing first to Kingman, Arizona, and later showing up in Canoga Park, California, where she moved in with 73-year-old James Cameron at the Park Place Club Apartments. Not the director of the Titanic. That's James Cameron. In November 2000, the Los Angeles Police Department received an anonymous tip-off about a possible homicide at Park Place. Oh my good night. Officers responded to the scene and knocked on the door of the unit the tipster had mentioned. Getting no response, they forced the lock and entered. Inside, they found a middle-aged woman with superficial slashes to her arms, apparently as the result of a half-hearted suicide attempt. It was soon apparent why the woman might have wanted to kill herself. On the stove, what? On the stove, officers found a crock pot with a human head inside, broiling in curry powder and garlic, the condiments added in a vain attempt to mask the stench of cooking flesh and brain matter. I cannot. The rest of the body was found dismembered and packed into a freezer. The female occupant of the apartment was immediately placed under arrest. And what was the end game there with having the head in the crock pot? What was going to happen there? So the murder victim was soon identified as James Cameron. According to neighbors, Cameron was a longtime resident of the building, but had only recently begun living with the suspect, who he had told several tenants was his wife. As to the identity of the woman, that was more difficult to establish. She had refused to give her name to detectives and had been booked as a Jane Doe. It was only when the police ran her prints that they learned who she really was: Karen Huster, a fugitive from a murder rap in Oregon. Karen. She's a true Karen, right? With her identity uncovered, Karen suddenly had a lot to say about the death of James Cameron. She claimed that he had died of a heart attack inside the apartment, and this had put her in a difficult situation since she couldn't report the death without being identified as a wanted felon and returned to Oregon. It had left her with no option but to undertake the unpleasant task of dismembering and concealing the corpse. First off, how do you dismember somebody? Like, I don't know physically how you chop up someone's body. No. So investigators were extremely skeptical of Karen's story. Yeah, no shit, right? But to their surprise, the autopsy results backed it up. Cameron had indeed been suffering from heart disease, and there was no apparent signs of foul play on his body. Cause of death was entered as heart failure. So she was at least off the hook for the murder of him, but she still had to answer for the whereabouts of her daughter. So extradited to Oregon, Karen continued to insist that she had entrusted Elizabeth to relatives in order to protect the child from her father. But by the time the matter came to trial in February 2002, she was singing a different tune. Now she was admitting murder but pleading insanity. Yeah, she truly insane. I mean, to do the things that she has done, there's no doubt. According to her latest account, she had a vision of angels beseeching her to entrust Elizabeth to their care. Oh my good fucking night. She had done so on September 1st, 1996, shooting the child in the head with a .22 pistol. She had then dismembered the body and disposed of the remains in the Pacific Ocean, dropping them from the side of a boat she had hired. I don't even know what to say to that. So it was far from a convincing story, and the prosecution was quick to jump on the inconsistencies. If Karen had killed her daughter in the midst of a psychotic episode, and I'm sorry, you have to be off your fucking rocker to do something like that. How was it that she had the perceptiveness to dispose of the body, and how was it that she had spent years lying about Elizabeth's whereabouts? Karen had a ready, if tenuous, explanation. She said she had been under severe financial stress at the time, unemployed, and with the bank about to foreclose on her home, she had disposed of the body herself because she had not had the money to pay for a funeral. Picking up on Karen's financial woes, her attorney then produced an expert witness to testify that stress over her finances and failed marriage had produced a brief psychotic disorder which had coincided with the killing of her daughter. She had immediately regretted her action and had decided to kill herself, but had lacked the fortitude to go through with it. Okay? To those in the courtroom, it must have sounded fanciful and self-serving. A far more likely explanation was the one offered by the prosecution that Karen, a woman known for her explosive temper and perpetually dark mood, had decided to get back at her husband. She had done so in the way that she knew would scar him more than any other, by taking the life of the little girl he held so dear. That was the version accepted by the jury, as they found Karen guilty of murder and sane at the time she committed the act. She was sentenced to life in prison with a minimum term of 25 years to be served before she becomes eligible for parole. She'll never get out. There's no way. No. How? I just don't understand people that can kill their children. No. Okay. I'm going to try to find a positive affirmation because, Jesus. We need something, right? All right. And you know, so there's a whole bunch here that I'm going to read. These are easier to say than to put into practice, but you know, I'm going to find something different. Wait a minute. Okay, here's a quote by Audrey Hepburn. Nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. I like that. I like that very much. And I also had read something, or I heard it on a TV show. It was like, nothing is impossible. The possible just takes longer. Something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was. And it made sense, right? Because, yeah, I mean, nothing is impossible. The word itself says, I'm possible. Take that what you will. Nothing is impossible. My happy thoughts will become my reality. I'm really trying to not be irritated today because I don't want to attract all of that to me. Especially with my job starting in like half an hour. So I hope you guys all have a great Friday. Like I said, thank God today is Friday. And as always, here's another little one I'll say really quick. So this is from Oprah. Be thankful for what you have. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never have enough. That's true. I firmly believe that. But yeah, as always, if you have any questions or comments, leave them down in the comments section below. And if there are questions, I will address them to the best of my ability. Thank you so much for watching and subscribing. I will be back on Monday with a true crime story, and tomorrow will be my cross-stitch vlog that I've been recording all week. Again, thank you for watching and subscribing, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.